welcome back to the CCA workbench, and we're here, and Hummingbird is going to take us and show us how to become better bass fishermen. Scott Martin, Angler of the Year, FLW.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that.
BassRanking.com,
Yeah.
#1 angler in the world. Congratulations
thank you.
on all the
Thanks for
great
having me.
success this year. So, if I want to catch a big bass in Florida, how am I going to do it?
There's lots of lures to choose from, but I'm going to break it down pretty simple for you viewers at home. If you want to catch big fish consistently, you need to throw a big swim bait like we have here, or flip the mats with some big creature bait.
All right, so let's start off with the rod. It's certainly not the same rod I'm going to go use for trout fishing.
Now, we're dealing with big fish, we're dealing with big rods. This is my signature series Akuma TCS rod, and look at the name of it, Mat Daddy. That's for fishing those big grass mats, okay? This is a 7-foot 11-inch, extra heavy. So it's a meat stick. This is going to get those fish out of heavy cover because you've got it on braid. You need a really good smooth casting braid, 50 to 65 pound test line, and you need a good high speed reel. This is the Akuma TCS, but it's an 8.1 to 1. So it's a fast reel, and that's real important when you're making those long casts out there in those grass beds. Those fish come up and blow up on it. You need to gather some slack and set the hook, and that high speed reel will help get it done.
Awesome. So we're going to fish a swim bait. Tell me about this one.
You know, pretty simple deal. I've rigged that up on a weighted trocar hook, and I've got that on a bruiser swim bait. That is basically a 6-inch swim bait. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make long casts out in the grass beds, and I'm going to reel it pretty fast. There's 2 ways to do it. Steady retrieve on the surface, so this tail, this little boot tail here is kicking and gurgling, kind of like a buzzbait making noise. Or cold conditions, subsurface, 6 inches to a foot down. But again, steady is the key. Don't give it a lot of action. Just reel it, let the boot tail do the action.
All right, so how's another way we're going to catch a big fish, Scott?
One of my favorite ways is punching the heavy grass mats, especially at Lake Okeechobee, Kissimmee area, Central Florida. Punching with a big, gigantic weight. Now look at that weight, Rick. I don't know if you're used to weights that big. That's a tungsten weight, 1.5 ounces.
That is a monster.
Monster. We even go bigger during the wintertime, 2 ounce. 2 ounce. I'm going to rig that up on, again, when I'm flipping the mats, 65 pound braid most of the time. I don't go 50. And I'm going to put that on a trocar TK135 extra strong hook. Okay, that's a really stout hook because when you're dealing with those Akuma 711, that extra heavy, that's a meat stick with a heavy braid and a big fish in the grass mats. You can't have a hook bend out on you, so that hook's important.
Now, I noticed something here. You got to explain this to all our guys at home.
I will.
This hook has been snelled.
That's a saltwater knot. You guys, you know, have snelled hooks for years, and we've kind of adopted that over on the freshwater side. Now, when we rig up our creature baits, which I don't have it rigged up on there right now, but your basic creature baits, what happens is your hookup ratio is going to go through the roof if you snell your hook to your line, and here's why. Rick, push down on that weight. Look at that. 100% of the time, that hook is going to leverage up, kind of like a circle hook, and that point of that hook is going to drive correctly through the top of the fish's mouth, and you're just going to land way more fish than having a regular knot.
How that just pops up like that.
Yeah, for
every
flipping,
single time.
That's the only knot at a time. I'm sure you can get on, you know, YouTube and get on some of those deals and figure out how to tie that. But I'm going to put my favorite creature bait on the back of that and flipping those heavy mats. Now, when I flip in those mats with these little creature baits like this, okay, I want a bait that doesn't have a whole lot of action. I see you've got the Bass Assassin one as well, and that's a great bait. You could put that on this as well. You know, perfect little deal. And I'm going to pitch it in those grass mats. Here's the key when you're fishing those grass mats. You flip it in and let it go all the way to the bottom, okay? Kind of just the normal speed. And then pull it back up to the top of the grass mat, okay? And yo-yo it maybe 3 different times. And if nothing bites it on about the 3rd pull, reel it out of there and flip it to the next hole. And keep doing that until you feel that thump.
Let me ask you, is there anything specific? You're going along, big grass mat. Are you looking for something more specific or something that stands out, Scott? You
know, anytime you have wind blowing in on a grass mat, okay, the leading edge of that windy side of that mat is good. Or if you can notice where there's a cavern underneath it, depending on the type of the grass, if you can see where it looks like it's like a garage, you know, like a carport underneath. That's what I always tell people, look at the carport. If there's a cavern underneath that grass mat, that's a great place to flip your bait.
That's good. That's where they park the big bass
trucks. That's right, absolutely.
Hey, great job. I can't wait to get back over here on the new products.